guys want to scoot up to the further things up here, go feel free. Also, remember, if you just walked in, this is how not to write webcomics. If you have any comments or opinions, raise your hand. I'll call on you. Yes, please.
I'm trying to make a comic that includes and features as many cliches as possible while still not being terrible.
TVtropes.com, a lot of resource.
How do I make it good, though? Like, do you have any general advice?
That's... I will tell you this.
Be edgy.
No, edgy sometimes doesn't work. For example, Elfin Lied, the most horrifying first 5 minutes of anime I've ever seen ever, and the rest was just a downer. I'm sorry if you like Elfin Lied, I did not, but being edgy is not always the best thing. One thing you can do, if you're going to make a parody, make sure people know it's a parody or else they're just going to think it's crud.
Okay.
And make your characters either, one, not have a clue what's going on, maybe they don't watch anime or anything, or two, make them realize this is a formula they have to go through time and time again, and it's kind of like Sliders, but it's between television series. That's exactly what I think Tsubasa is. It's Tsubasa Clamp meets Sliders. If you don't know what Sliders is, I'm so sorry. For those of you who do, laugh all you want. Question?
I have like really great ideas for pretty much anything really, but
You're
when
genius, that's
I
okay.
get them out there,
It
nobody is
doesn't seem-
interested. How do I get people interested?
Go to your friends and family or go to certain forums or websites that deal with the genre or kind of story you're looking for. For example, if the story you're writing is fantasy, either go to elfwood.com and post some of your story chapters there. It's basically a whole bunch of fantasy art. Or join groups on DeviantArt or join certain forums. For example, if there's this one anime group that just loves, oh, I don't know, Bakano, and you're doing a story about immortality, alchemists, and whatnot, hey, latch on to that. Don't say, hey, I'm here, read a webcomic. No, don't do that, you're gonna look like a jerk. But engage in the storyline that they're talking about, and then this mention passing, oh, I have this webcomic here that's kind of like this if you want to check it out. Or if you want to, you can go to readings, creative writing readings. There are a few in the area. I know one is usually at the Venus Center. It happens once a month. You usually have to go to UNO and check out what's going on. It's called the Crop series. And they have a meeting every other month and they just talk about what they're writing. You can bring anything you want there, poetry, fiction, whatever, and just talk it out. Sometimes if you go to NaNoWriMo forums, they have a forum for each and every genre. They have sci-fi, fantasy, erotica, steampunk. Yes, they have that. Chick lit. Question?
Actually, it's not a question, but a comment. NaNoWriMo actually has a local Omaha chapter. They actually do meet every month, and they meet quite a bit during November. You can just Google it and get together, and they basically get together in a group and critique. Also, I don't know how many people are familiar with Gaia Online, but it actually has an entire forum section just for people trying to get feedback on their webcomics and stories.
Don't expect them to be nice.
Yeah.
You know what,
Don't
sometimes
expect them to be nice.
sometimes they're not, but they're very truthful, and you really need to, you know, are they trying to be intentionally mean, or are they just being very truthful and it hurts? Because I've browsed through there quite a bit, and I don't really see any people who are intentionally mean, but they are very, you know, cold.
Brutally honest.
Very honest.
Don't go fishing for compliments, though.
No,
Question.
no.
Similar to that too, back to what you were saying about forums and on that topic too, a good way to get promotion through using forums is just to go in and talk to people, but have a link to your comic in your signature.
I love that.
And that's what I do all the time, is I post on several different forums, and all except for the one where I'm not allowed to because I can only post links to related things, I have that link to my comic in my signature, and I can watch through Google Analytics if people are linking through from it, and they are.
Nothing wrong with that. Just don't abuse that power like people abuse email. Spammers. All right, another thing I want to go through, certain exercises you can do to better your writing and figure out what you do best. Now, this is a strange one I did. Try to see if you can do a webcomic, that's just a comic book based on a fairy tale. One that everybody knows. Try Cinderella. One person I met had to do a concept of Cinderella for a costuming design class. And what she did was she set it in India. I couldn't do that because I knew in India, widows are not allowed to remarry, but she did it anyway. She included all these different aspects of it, different cultural things, and she made it go from the viewpoint of the fairy godfather, father. It was a female god in that. But basically, one thing I want to reflect on this point is there are no new stories. It's the same story by a different slant. It's unfortunately true, but it is. For example, okay, name a movie done in the last year. Anyone? Just, anyone? Spit out. Surrogates. The evils of technology. I'm speaking through hearsay here because I've not seen the movie. Last movie I saw was, what's the one with the guy in the balloons? Up. Yep, that's the last one I've seen. Yes, I haven't seen Star Trek, man, or Terminator, or the Transformers. I'm so sad.
But what's the best of that?
It reminds me of Metropolis or Carpet.
Metropolis, it could be either the Metropolis that was the anime version or Metropolis, the old German version.
German version.
Yeah? But basically, it's the same old story, trying to get immortality through technology. It's been old trope ever since Frankenstein. And I've just gone off an edge and you're all not bored. That's all right. All right, any other comments you want to spit out? This is more like Q&A than anything else. But if you want to, yes?
I noticed that very few animes or very few mangas ever really deal with technology in a favorable way. There's a whole host of mangas and animes that deal with the evils of technology and world domination and whatnot, but there are very few that really deal with technology in a favorable or proper way, you might say.
Mostly, I think the theory for that is because a lot of people who are writing those webcomics are from the last generation. They know certain evils of technologies. Windows. The earlier Windows, not the later ones. I'm okay with that one. Or earlier things. It's a generational kind of gap. But we are finding some technological disadvantages in our generation. For example, email spam, certain kind of viruses, things that can take you down. For example, Twitter. That will take you down real quick if you abuse it. But technological advances that are good. Nope, never really heard of
Try
them.
Girl Genius.
Girl Genius?
Yeah.
That's the one about, I've never heard of that one.
It's a mad scientist in this in the steampunk kind of world
Oh, okay.
where
Oh.
people who invent are revered.
Let me, here's put forth, all right, a certain kind of meat, okay, it's Powerpuff Girls, it's not a webcomic, but it deals with technology in a favorable light. This technology, sugar, spice, everything nice, creates these three little powerful girls that save the world. Unfortunately, it also has a side effect. See, there's an evenness to it. Either you, with technology, I'm sorry, either you get everything bad with it, or, thank you, or you get bad with good. So it's basically both the positive and negative effects of a certain aspect of life. Either it could be what it's like to be a doctor, what it's like to be a technologist, what it's like to live in a regular life if you're doing contemporary webcomics. Any other questions, Yadders?